Okay, so what I'm going to talk about in this video is understanding the buying process and customer psychology. And trust me, this is a very valuable video. Okay, when you fully understand how this works and why customers buy and the buying process, is going to turn your marketing upside down. Trust me, you are going to be able to become such a better marketer, and this is going to be, the basis for all of your product descriptions, for helping you write product descriptions and your adverts as well. So once you fully understand this lesson, you will become so much of a better marketer. It's unreal. So let's get into it. Now, the journey to the sale. Don't sell life insurance, sell what life insurance can do. First and foremost, I want to talk about the buying process. Okay, no one likes to be sold to, but everyone likes to buy. Think about it yourself. Okay, when you're down the street and someone comes up to you asking you to, will you buy this, will you do this, and you don't like it, but everyone loves to buy things. So let's first talk about the process that a customer goes through before actually purchasing a product. So the first thing is awareness. So the customer sees a product through a media channel. Now, whether this be Facebook, website, commercial on TV, Instagram, etc., whatever it may be, awareness is then created. The customer has become aware of that product. Then, of course, there is the consideration process. Now, the customer goes through the consideration process of purchasing the product, and in their head they're thinking, do they need it? What are the reviews like? What's the price? What status will it bring me if I purchase this product? Do I actually trust this website? Is it secure enough? Is my payment secure? And all these sorts of things. Now, the consideration process is a little bit longer than what people actually think, and I'm going to break it down and show you a visualization of what this whole process looks like so you can really understand it. But basically, from awareness, the customer then goes into consideration. After consideration, of course, there is then the purchase. The customer agrees that the purchase makes sense to them, or is validated for them to actually purchase the product, and then places the order. Then, of course, there's the after sale. So the customer receives the product, and would they use the product? The customer receives the product, then uses the product, and in the back of their head, they're thinking, would they repurchase it? Would they recommend it to a friend? Would they purchase other items from your store? And these are the sorts of things that they have it going through their head once they've purchased it, once they've then got it in their hands and they use the product. So this here is a visualization of the buying process that a customer goes through. You can see on the left hand side, I've just put a Facebook advert. Now, this Facebook advert could be anything, like I've mentioned previously, from an Instagram shout out to commercial on TV, whatever it may be. Now, there is then awareness from that. So they see the advert on when they're scrolling down their feed, and they become aware to the product or service, whatever it may be. They then click through and land onto the product page. At that point there, they're in consideration mode. So, looking at the product description, what sort of value will they get out of actually purchasing this product? What's the price like? Is there any scarcity? What are the pictures like? What's the price? All these sorts of things that the customer is thinking if or not they're going to actually go ahead and make that purchase. Then if they add the product to their cart, there's a little bit of a buying intent there, but they're still at the consideration process, okay? And then once they get to the initiate checkout, again, they're still at that consideration process. Is there additional fees? What are the shipping times? Do I trust this website? Is there anything to say that, that it's secure? Do I get to pay with PayPal, credit card? All these sorts of things, they're still in the consideration mode. Once they've validated all these things in their head, they then, of course, make the purchase. And then, of course, there's the after sale. Now, going above the purchase, that's when you're going to be building rapport with your customers. So sending them emails, offers, and information and stuff like that, and suggesting them other products, of course, which then, if they do like anything that you suggest to them, they're going to then land back on a product page and go through that consideration process again. So that is a visualization of the buying process. Now I want to talk about understanding customer psychology, and this is so valuable to marketers that it's unreal, okay? The key, no matter what story you tell, make the buyer the hero. Now, why people buy? Every sale has 5 obstacles: no need, no money, no hurry, no desire, no trust. And that's by a guy called Zig Ziglar, very powerful and famous motivational speaker. So Humans are very emotional beings and we buy based on impulse. Okay, now most purchases are irrational. We buy things based on our wants and not our needs. So think about the things that you've purchased in the last 3 months or so. Did you actually need them? Chances are 9 times out of 10 you probably didn't actually need them. You bought them because you wanted them. And that is how life pretty much works. All of our, purchases that we make, we don't actually need these things. We actually want these things. So many purchases are always irrational. Now, buying decisions are rarely about price. They're always about the value. What benefits do they get out of owning the product? Now, this goes for, like, say, for example, if someone was buying a Rolex watch, okay? It's rarely about the price because, of course, if it was about the price, then people wouldn't go ahead and spend, $25,000 or pounds or whatever it is on a Rolex watch. It's the value that they get out of purchasing that watch is what makes them buy the watch, okay? Yeah, they may look good, but at the end of the day, when they purchase a Rolex, they're then perceived by society to be at a higher status. People think when they see the person wearing a Rolex, they've got money, they're successful, and this is what society has perceived about the brand Rolex, okay? And that's why people actually buy Rolexes rather than just buying, a £30 Casio, which does exactly the same thing. It just tells the time. It's always about the value and benefit that they get out of that product. Now, here are some companies that are based on the actual value that they get. So Costco, you always can assume that they've got the best price. Nordstrom, the best service. Now, Apple, people are gonna disagree with me. If you are an Android, please forgive me, but Apple, the best product. DHL, again, you may disagree with me and may think it's FedEx, but DHL, best reliability in delivering products. BMW, the best performance. And like I mentioned, Rolex, the best quality. Now I want to talk about the psychology behind the sale, okay? The fear of missing out. So what motivates people, the psychology behind the sale? The fear. Fear is a big factor. Fear of missing out, FOMO is what it's generally abbreviated as. People think I need to get this before I miss out. I need this, otherwise X will happen. And these are things that you need to be instilling into your product descriptions and adverts, like I mentioned, that fear of them actually missing out if you've got a fantastic offer on. The status. What status will they get, okay, when they own this product? I need this as my friends will think I'm cool, or I need this and people will think if I'm X, if I own this. Same thing goes for the Rolex. People will think I've got money, I'm successful and stuff if I own this Rolex. Again, if you can make your customers feel a certain status when they purchase the product, that's when it's easier to make sales. And of course, the value. What benefits do they gain? This will help my bad back, or this will make my life so much easier. And the value is like if you've got a problem solving product. If you're selling a slicer of a kitchen slicer or something like that, it's going to make someone's life so much easier. It's going to cut down their prep time. They're going to be less stressed, less waste of stuff because they're going to be able to cut finer. These are the sort of things you need to be thinking about when you're writing product descriptions and trying to sell to a cold audience. Now, I want to talk about 6 psychological triggers, and in one of Robert's books proposed in, it's called The Influence. If you haven't read it, please go read it. It's a fantastic read. Every human has 6 psychological triggers which makes them buy. First one is we've got reciprocity, we've got commitment and consistency, we've got liking, authority, social proof, and scarcity. So the first one. Now, this triggers is based on you doing something great for free for your customer, so in turn they then return the favor and purchase your product. Now, if someone does you a favor, think about it this way. If someone does you a favor, let's say your friend asks you for a favor. If someone does you a favor, let's say you've asked your friend for a favor, hey man, can you do this for me? And they do it for you. Then if they ask you for a favor, you feel like you have to say yes because you're in debt to them. Okay, they've done something for you, and if they ask you for a favor, you generally feel obliged to do it because you're in debt to them and they've done something for you previously. Now, how does this relate to e-commerce? Well, in e-commerce, you can apply this by giving away free PDFs to your emailing list based on their niche, top 10 cooking recipes, or check out these top 10 chefs or something along those lines. It's just a free PDF or something like that, giving it away. Or you could do a buy one, get one free, or a free plus shipping offer. Now, of course, I recommend doing free plus shipping via email and generally not via Facebook ads. It can work, but I stay away from free plus shipping to cold audiences. And then, of course, once you do that and you're building an email list, you can obviously upsell them later on with your full price products. You've gave them away something for free, you've gave them that buy one, get one free, or you've gave them a product and they've just paid shipping. Then they feel more obliged to purchase from yourself when you start to sell them on your higher ticket products. Now, the second one, commitment and consistency trigger. Now, this trigger is based on you being consistent with your offers and commitment to your words. Okay, here's an example. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but here in the UK, we have something called Premier Inn hotels. And basically what they offer is if you don't get a good night's sleep, they will refund your money totally free. So you get a free night's stay. Now, subconsciously, people are more inclined to choose Premier Inn, of course, over similar priced hotels because the peace of mind and consistency that they have. Now, in e-commerce, you can do this, okay? You can put these same practices into process. So, in e-commerce, you can implement this by offering money back guarantees, product warranties, making the customer, feel that it's easy for them to return any unwanted products. And once you've got a guarantee in place, it removes that friction, that initial friction that they get from, initially being skeptical of purchasing a product in the first place. Now, another way is if you've got a niche store, you can align yourself to a charity or cause. Again, that is a commitment, and you do see them out there. Every time you make a commitment to donate into, a certain amount of profits to the charity, one that of course is aligned with your niche. So let's say, for example, you're using a cat niche, you got a cat website, you would donate, a percent of profits to helping rescue cats or something along those lines. Now, the liking trigger. You've heard of people saying this, people buy from people, and it's a powerful trigger that makes us buy. Same thing if you are, recommendations. People like to buy from other people. It's the very same reason celebrities are able to endorse and sell anything due to their fans liking the person and not necessarily the product or the brand. Now, that's why these big massive companies always, have big celebrities, because at the end of the day, people are attached to the celebrities. People like the celebrities. They don't necessarily like the brand or product, yet they will still purchase the product because their favorite celebrity is seen to be aligned and affiliated with that product or brand. Now, of course, you can't have a celeb endorse your dropshipping general store, okay? But you can develop an internal character and brand story. Now, here's an example. When sending emails, always send from the same person and not just your store name. I personally like to use a female's name, so like Lindsay or Kate or whatever it may be, and always have that person, sending out the emails and building a relationship and making sure that the emails are personal and not just sent from, luckydeals.com. You don't want to send an email from Lucky Deals. You want to make sure it's from an actual person. Now, another way to implement liking into your e-commerce store is by using pictures of people who are like the person you are selling to. Okay. Now, for example, if you're selling a baby toy, try and use pictures or have pictures on your website on that product page of mothers and babies playing with the toy together, or the babies themselves. That way, when the consumer goes to the product page, they can see that it's a person like themselves in the same situation. They're using it, they must have fun, and it may be working for myself. If you see someone like yourself, playing and purchasing, with the product that you want to buy. Authority trigger. Now, authority trigger is based around being an expert or industry in the field or product that you're selling to. Now, you don't have to be an actual expert or leader. You just need to convince the customer that you are and the product that you're selling is. Now, of course, you can do this by including words in your product descriptions such as recommended by top X. And I've done this many of times before. Or, in your product description, created by industry experts, made from world-class materials. Put these authoritative words into your product descriptions to make it feel like the product is, authority. You are the go-to person in your special niche or in the special, industry that the product is based in. Of course, here's another thing that you can do in your About Us section. Write about how long you've been experts in finding highest quality products at the lowest price. Refer to yourself as industry leaders, market experts. And like I mentioned, all these sorts of authority-based words to put in your descriptions. Social proof. Okay. Now, us humans seek validation from others all of the time. Now, we don't realize it, but for us marketers, it's a powerful way to sell products. Thinking is usually, if it's good enough for X, then it must be good enough for me. And, it goes back to celebrities and stuff like that. If it's good enough for so-and-so, then, hey, it must be good enough for me. You may have personally thought this yourself. Now, people look at reviews, comments, likes, shares to determine how popular or great something must be. And, if you just look at Amazon, how many times have you personally went onto Amazon and seen a product that may be a little bit cheaper but hasn't got that many reviews, or one that is a little bit more expensive but it's got all of the reviews? Now, which product do you buy? I know which one I buy. I always go for the one that's a little bit more expensive but has all of the reviews, just to be rest assured. Okay, same thing like TripAdvisor. How many times have you been to a restaurant that's had tons of different reviews, but when you got there it wasn't actually fantastic? It always happens, but we go off it based off if it's good enough for them, then it must be good enough for me. Now, you can implement social proof in many ways. Firstly, of course, there's one way you can run a PPE advert to increase your likes, shares and comments on a winning ad creative. Now, if you're scrolling down and something has got 1,000 likes on it, 1,000 comments, 1,000 shares, and you run the same product, but the other one's only got like 2 likes, 2 comments, 2 shares, your click-through rate is going to be a lot higher on the product that's got all of the social proof than the one that hasn't. Secondly, you can use reviews on your product page. Now, this is a must, and there's tons of apps, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more when we actually talk about building the actual website. But reviews on your website and on your product page are a major key. Now, finally, here's a little tip that you can do and that I like to do as well, is you can have create a page on your website called Happy Customers, and literally just use the photos from AliExpress, or if your customers send any in, to create a collage of people who have brought the product that you are selling, and it works super effective. Now, here is the scarcity trigger. Now, this trigger is based on the fear of missing out, like we've mentioned, FOMO. No one likes to miss out on opportunities and miss something that is limited. Now, the example I give is Yeezys. I personally have bought tons of pairs of Yeezy trainers, okay? And generally it is down to the hype. They don't look they look okay, but they're not, overwhelmingly fantastic. But the limited, the notion of it being limited and having to wait in a queue and all these sorts of things makes you want to buy a pair of Yeezy trainers. Now, you can implement scarcity in a number of ways into your marketing. Now, on your ad creative, you can stay on discounts that are time sensitive. So on most of your ad creatives, you can say that any sort of discount that you got, so 50% off, make sure that they are time sensitive. You can also state that the stock is limited, so your customer either buys now or misses out. Now, for example, 50% off for 24 hours only, or the next 100 customers save 50%. Stock is limited, only 40 units left. These are the sorts of scarcity words that you want to be using to help, give that fear of missing out into your customer, so they make the purchase there and then rather than doing it later. Now, on your product page, you can use countdown timers or stock timers to help encourage your customers to make an impulse buy. Some people like countdown timers, other people don't. I have used them, but I don't use countdown timers. I'd rather use kind of like a stock count out rather than the numbers ticking down. Now, like I mentioned, most people buy based on value and not the price, okay? And remember, sell life insurance. Don't sell life insurance. Sell what life insurance can do. Super powerful. Now, coming up next, I'm going to be talking about general stores and niche stores, you know, the difference between the two, pros and cons, and what I think is best. So I hope you got some value from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.